See, this Cortana is nothing like the Cortana you know. She can astral project.
She has the Force. Hi, I'm Matt with No Market Media.
And I'm Randall. Today, Matt and I are going back to Halo. Do we have to? Yes?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess
We
so.
watched the whole thing.
Yeah, why did we do that? Well, if you don't know, we already did like a longish hot take of episode 1 by itself. But this time we're talking season 1 in our normal review format.
We promise this one won't be 9 times as long as the episode 1 review, since there's 9 episodes. We're not going to go that in depth into each episode.
Not going to do that. This Halo TV series stars Pablo Schreiber, Natasha McElhone, Charlie Murphy, Danny Sapani, Olive Gray, Yaren Ha, and Jen Taylor reprising her role as the voice of Cortana. The series was created by Stephen Kane and Kyle Killen, who have both departed the series, by the way.
Yeah, season 2, I have whole new creators.
So, maybe season 2.
Halo is about a human military organization spearheaded by genetically modified super soldiers who are racing against an alien collective to find a possible super weapon. Trouble arises as the human soldiers learn the truth about their origins. Now, the total cost of production is estimated to be about $200 million. At $9 million an episode, it is one of the most expensive per episode shows of all time. It has received average or above average reviews from critics and mixed or below average reviews from audiences.
Alright, let me just say it. I mostly hate this show. I was pretty well done after the first episode, if you guys watched that. And then, I don't know, about episode 3, I texted Matt and said, I think I'm done with Halo. Like, I'm like, alright, so now he can take his entire armor off without the help of the, like, thing. All of a sudden. I'm just saying I just did not enjoy my time, basically. I don't think that everything has to be a direct copy, like a one-to-one copy of Halo, like video games. I don't think that would work. But this is so far outside the realm of what Halo is, what the characters are, what makes the property what it is, that it might as well just have been any other super soldier story, period. It could have been Soldier starring Kurt Russell, or Universal Soldier starring, Van Damme. There's so little Halo here. Even the parts that shine, like the armor looks good, the weapons are good, the ships are good, like everything looks good. There's not enough Halo in it for me to be pleased with it.
Yeah, I kind of echo the same thing. I think if you take out a lot of just the Halo references, like, the names, location stuff, that this could pass as not Halo at all kind of thing. And that's, I think, what Randall's kind of getting to, a lot of being true to different things like the characters and different stuff like that. I will tell you guys, generally, there's more episodes in this show that I dislike than stuff that I actually like in the show. And I think that's the the general overall that I have for this. I think that they are maybe building some things that are closer to Halo, but I don't know. To me, I think there might be just too far in between for me to really like the show. And a lot of the stuff I just didn't enjoy what the show was doing.
And if I gotta say one last thing, it's not the actress. It's nothing to do with that. The addition of the Quan Ha character and the side story of Magical and everything, couldn't care less. I just don't care about that. I wanted to just watch a Halo series that's about the Earth Covenant War, basically. And they spend, I don't know, let's say a third of all of the series time on this side quest that I just don't care about.
Yep. So to piggyback off what Randall was just saying, I really see like two main stories, I would say, in this. Two main. There's lots of stories
Only
going
two?
on. No, two main. There's lots of
Only two?
other stories that are going on. But I would just kind of like go on a little bit, or not to make it too long. I'll focus on the two main ones. We have the stuff with Master Chief, and then what you were talking about, the Quan Ha stuff, which I'm right there with Randall. I have like no interest in that storyline at all. And it's nothing against like the actors or anything. I just, as a story and stuff with like Halo, I just don't find that interesting. And you can go back to our episode 1 review. I think I mentioned that I kind of like the idea of looking at a little bit of like the Rebels. Like that could be kind of an interesting storyline. How it's done in this, I just the whole thing with Quan Ha and Madrigal and stuff, I'm just not interested in that at all. The Master Chief stuff is, I don't know. It's like, hey, I'm gonna look into my past kind of thing and be a rogue against the UNSC and then be with the UNC when it just fits the situation. That's, it is what it is.
This is similar, just out of sheer coincidence, to Picard Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Where I said in that review, there's too many storylines going on. You should have picked your storylines better. There's like the storyline with Quan going on. There's the storyline with Master Chief, like figuring out his past and finding out that they were all stolen as kids and brainwashed, even though he already knows that because there's a flashback with Soren.
Mm-hmm.
Like episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he might not know the finer details, but there's that story going on. There's the artifact story going on, which ties into that story. There's the storyline with the Maki, the human Covenant collaborator.
Yep.
And the Covenant human war, which is barely even a story in this, which is supposed to be the main story, in my opinion. There's so many competing storylines going on. And then there's the piece de resistance, the Halsey storyline.
Yep.
That they haven't earned the right to tell. That's the storyline that they want to tell. All of Halsey's sins, all of the bad things that Halsey did, which no one's saying she didn't. We all know she did bad things, especially video game people who have been playing this game series for a long time.
Yep.
But this series is like, nope, we want to tell that story. We want to go all in on that. And I'm like, Earth Covenant War. Like, all of Halsey's sins become an important thing in the games later. After the important Earth Covenant War is taken care of. Where it's like, we've got to deal with this now. We don't have time to deal with all this drama. So for me, that's a big problem.
I think at least when talking about stories, at least the Halsey stuff and the Miranda Keys and the Captain Keys stuff and the Kai stuff, at least all that kind of comes around with like Master Chief. The Quan Ha stuff, like Master Chief and Quan Ha are together at the beginning, and then they go off, and it doesn't come back. So we have this other storyline that's completely separate from all those other storylines that you talked about, and I think that's really where that's kind of like takes off. At least some of these other, even though I agree with you, there's like so many different storylines. Granted,
too much.
Each character, getting their own storyline. That's fine. We're getting to learn about the character stuff, but. Yeah, there's so many storylines. The Quan Ha stuff doesn't like really tie into all that. We have a little glimpse of something that might tie into it later and bring her back around to Master Chief. But honestly, I'm fine with that just being done where it is.
Nope.
Wherever it's left, just be done with it.
Nope.
I have no interest in coming back to that.
Nope. Magic Portal. That's how they're going to get to the Halo ring. Magic Portal on Madrigal, by the way. Not coincidental at all. The funny thing is, like, in the very first game, they do a blind jump, and they just happen to end up at a Halo ring. That's the kind of coincidental I want. Not, oh, by the way, we have a magic portal. Which is where I feel they're going.
Yeah, it probably is where they're going.
Alright, given my complaints that I just levied against, like, the Halsey storyline, how they want to tell that story so badly, this is going to come as a weird shock, I think. Halsey's character is the only one that I really look at and say, Oh yeah, that's Halsey from the game. I'm like, it's the only character that's true to the game's character. Even Master Chief's not even close. Captain Keyes, nowhere. Miranda, nowhere. All the other Spartans are just Spartans for the most part. I mean, Kai's got her own thing going on, but like, none of these characters really are anything like their game counterparts. I mean, even Cortana, like, instead of being like an AI, just an AI. I mean, yes, Cortana's a copy of Halsey. That's in the games. But like, she's an AI on a chip that goes into like, it, you know, integrates with the UNSC's technology, basically.
Right.
In this, she's directly implanted into Chief's head. She's like there all the time, no matter whether he's wearing the suit or not. Convenient. But, I mean, Cortana's character is even changed to the point where it's like, oh, her entire existence is so she can take over a Spartan's body. That's not Cortana. That's not what AIs are in Halo. But yeah, Halsey, at least they got her character right.
I actually was going to go on the flip side. I was going to say every character in this is new, a new character, except for maybe Cortana. But, you know, I'll add Halsey. To me, I'm the opposite. Cortana is the only thing that actually really feels like Halo. Like, and I think a lot of it is kind of what they're building with, like, Chief and Cortana now. It's kind of like iffy. We're going to see exactly where they're going to go on with the end of this. But to me, like, a big part of why I was upset about, like, Master Chief taking off his helmet and stuff, too, is because it takes away a core identity of what we've known to grow with you know, Master Chief. We've only known, really, Master Chief by his voice and stuff. It's different voice and different, now we have different face, so to me, it feels like a different character. Where Cortana, I think that kind of helps, like, with the Cortana, actually having Jen Taylor doing it, I think does bring it home a little bit. And I think, you know, Cortana, she's changed so much between the different games. I don't know if there is, like, one true version. I mean, even I think Bungie changed Cortana a little bit between the games when they were going with, like, Halo 3 and stuff. And then, you know, 343, I mean, going from, you know, Halo 4 Cortana, Halo 5 Cortana, and now even the weapon all feel different. But
that version of Cortana starts here and ends up here through the video games and through the story. What happens to her as a character.
Yep.
This one doesn't do that.
But this, I think, is trying to set up is, hey, the Cortana that we see in combat evolve, like there, is the Cortana that we're building towards in this show. Possibly. That I think, because I think really the big relationship or whatever in Halo is that relationship between Chief and Cortana.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, and I don't know what they really did here at the end of this. You know, they're kind of leaving it up, but maybe they're leaving the groundwork that, hey, maybe we can have that Cortana-Chief relationship.
See, but like what they've done at the end of this series where like they let Cortana take over Chief's body, basically, he's like, I trust you, which is good because Chief is supposed to trust Cortana. But the thing that they did where now he's quiet. Now he's like the character that doesn't really respond. He doesn't talk. That is so not what this relationship is supposed to be for these two people, you know, for the AI Cortana and Master Chief. She gets removed from his suit for like a huge portion of games at points where they don't have communication, they don't have anything, and Master Chief is still Master Chief throughout those times, you know. I disagree with your assessment. You're just brought in by the fact that it's Jen Taylor. If it had been voiced by someone else, you'd be like, this is not the same character.
Very well possible. Yeah, that is true. And that I'm not disagreeing, and that's what I said. And that's exactly the point I said, that fact that we have Jen Taylor as it is basically what makes it, and why not having the voice of Master Chief also hurts that character as well. Because, well, we can't do that because our new Master Chief never wears his armor at all.
Very rarely. He even puts on something of civilian clothes at one point.
I mean, whatever, you don't agree with him taking his helmet off or, you know, whoever, what. It's not just that. It's just that for the majority of this, he's not even in his armor. He's not even in any part of his armor, let alone just not having the helmet on.
It's true. Characters are the biggest disappointment for this entire series for me. I mean, you've taken away what makes a character who they are entirely for the most part. It's supposed to be an adaptation. And they didn't.
Yeah, I would say it's all the characters, with, like you said, the exception of probably Halsey, and in my opinion, a little bit of Cortana, is just completely new takes on characters. So that's why I kind of go on, like, this show is really all new characters.
It's just new.
Which, I think is fine. Like, we could have just had all these different names and stuff, too. Like, why even attach the names when the current knowledge that we have about these characters don't matter, really, in this show?
Don't know. Maybe they could have told a story with, I don't know, this other Spartan team called Noble Team. Instead of trampling all over established characters. Who said that? Who's the guy who said that? Heaven forbid you use Noble Team. But okay, speaking of one more character thing that's just like weird and different before we move on to genre stuff. Cortana again.
Mm-hmm.
She can conveniently make a full-size representation of herself anytime she wants, anywhere she wants. So they're at like Chief's childhood home, which is decrepit. Like it's fallen. There's no technology. It's gone. Like the house is falling apart. Chief's not wearing his armor, or maybe he was at this point.
He is when they go in the home.
But like she's like got a full scale. Not like a little, hey, here you are in my hand.
Yeah.
Like a full scale walking around. Like, where are the howl projectors? Like, she does that several times where it's like, where are the howl projectors that are projecting her?
It's sci-fi. We're not going to explain the sci-fi.
It makes sense in the games. Every time you see her, it's like, it's in his hand. Like, she's, like as if there's like a little projector
or coming
there,
up from the console.
Or coming up from a console or something like that. And I'm like, see, this Cortana is nothing like the Cortana you know. She can astral project.
She has the Force. So I was already saying this and alluding this a little bit. This is a sci-fi show to me, and it feels like a typical sci-fi show. Take out the Halo references. Take out the Halo names, the Halo locations or anything, the Halo weapons. We have some visual cues to Halo. Take that out, and to me, it feels like a typical sci-fi show that I would watch. It could be anything. Could be named anything else, and it would still feel like a realized sci-fi show. I think that's a big thing for me. It doesn't really feel like a video game adaptation. Just feels like a sci-fi show with video game wrapping on it.
All right, so I'm going to get to that in my genre thing, but I want to say, I was messaging with our common friend, Chris, about this. Texting him, and I said, you know what? Space Above and Beyond did it better in like the 90s than this Halo series is doing it now. Space Above and Beyond has its own problems, okay? But like, I was like noticing they went through all the trouble of designing brand new ships for that series, like wholly for that series, a whole new idea, basically, of like a space aircraft carrier. All of the weapons are like futuristic weapons. The show takes place in 2050. And they all have like upgraded weaponry and everything. In this, only the UNSC has the upgraded weaponry.
You're right.
But like all of the other characters on Madrigal are carrying AK-47s.
Yep.
And there's a Chevy Tahoe.
Yep.
And another Chevy Tahoe that's looks like it's out of Equilibrium.
Yeah.
It looks like straight pulled out of Equilibrium, and I'm like, it's still just a Chevy Tahoe. And I'm like, wow, how did a show in the 90s do sci-fi like better than this? Anyways, I digress. My genre thing is that it's supposed to be a video game adaptation. But it is so far gone from adapting the property that it's talking about. It's just a complete rewrite. It's a complete up and down rewrite. This show would be getting amazingly stellar reviews if only they had chose not to call it Halo. That's it. It's a terrible video game adaptation. Mortal Kombat's better. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a better video game adaptation, if a much worse movie, than this show.
I would totally agree with that, except for one part where you said that it'd be getting amazing reviews if it wasn't Halo winner. This type of sci-fi show, even without anything, because I try to look at it, I'm like, all right, how would I feel about this if there was like no Halo connection stuff? it doesn't even really interest me all that much without any of the Halo references. But yeah, a lot of it for like a video game adaptation, it is a completely different story that we're throwing some video game references into just so we can call it Halo. Hey, we're gonna have 2 or 3 fights with Covenant and Spartans, especially like the last episode that we're gonna shoe in here just to make the fans happy and feel good and come back for season 2.
Yeah, the last episode was like, I don't know when it was filmed and like when it was finalized, the script and everything, but the last episode just seemed like 100% course correction.
Yeah.
Of everything we did before this kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. We should probably fix that.
Please forget the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many episodes that came before.
Go back to the first episode. Now we're on the last episode. Just watch those back to back. Didn't see that coming. Lots. I'll try and be succinct to, not make his job harder. Number 1, front and center. The thing that I didn't see coming was Maki's character. The human Covenant collaborator.
Yep.
I'm like, the Covenant would never collaborate with a human. Like, they despise us. They are literally trying to wipe our species out. Mm-hmm. That's their entire thing. They're only there because it's convenient with these artifacts that humans can turn on. Which they don't call them Forerunner artifacts, but, whatever. But, like, that's kind of, like, consistent with the idea of Halo. They do that in Halo, the original Halo. Humans can activate Forerunner tech.
Right.
Covenant can't.
Right.
But they force humans to do it.
Yep.
No collaboration. So that was my number 1 thing. Like, front and center. It's Maki.
Yep.
I'll do more, but I'll let Matt do one.
Well, just going on Maki, too, and talking, like we said before, about course correction for the last episode, they do try to make it with, like, the 2 prophets, and the one is like, oh, I'll keep my promise I made to you when we originally
take her. We're going to get rid of her.
We're just going to get rid of her, and we are just using her kind of thing. I would say, what I didn't see coming is, like, the end, like, what we talked about, what Cortana does with Master Chief and stuff, like Master Chief basically saying, like, giving in and being like, hey, you gotta completely take me over in order for it to be here. And they kind of leave us at the very end on kind of like, well, what is going on? Like, are we gonna retrieve John in this series or whatever? Is Cortana gonna retrieve? Or are they trying to tell us that the Master Chief, or where we know, is just like Cortana taking over the suit kind of thing?
It's admittedly a different timeline. So you can't say the Master Chief we know.
Exactly, because there is no Master Chief
that we know in this timeline.
Yep.
But yeah, like, is this how in this universe we get closer to the Master Chief as the character that we quote unquote know? Yeah, basically.
Well, like I said, course correction, like, well, this whole first season's completely different.
Course correction.
But maybe for season 2, because of all the rage and stuff, and we need people to keep watching this show to make money, maybe we are going to go more toward, I don't know. Don't leave your hopes up. If you're hoping for that, when we get to conclusions, I will let you know more how I feel about that.
All right, but this is good because this leads into another thing that I didn't see coming. Where are all the Spartans? Where are all the Spartans?
What? There's only 4.
Why are there only 4 Spartans, Matt?
There's only 4.
Where are the other Spartan teams? Now, admittedly, I know that in the original timeline, like, the process is gruesome and there's attrition's high, but it's like 50%. Not like there's only 4 left. And Soren, who's like, not gone through the entire thing. No Spartan 3s are on the way? Like, at this time in the timeline that we're familiar with, the game timeline, you're getting to, like, Fall of Reach and stuff.
Yes.
And, like, Spartan 2s are, like, the fabled, like Master Chief and multiple others from, like, there's an old animated one where you see, like, some Spartan 2s and stuff like that, which is kind of an inspiration for Kai in one of those, by the way. So, like, where are all the Spartans is another thing I didn't see coming. Why are there only 4?
Because in this show, there's only 4. I'm of that assumption or whatever until they actually directly mention other Spartans, like, actually, or show us other Spartans. I'm going to be under the conclusion that in this universe, there's only 4.
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, and no, I don't know.
It's not really Halo, guys. It's not really Halo.
Just Chief and Silver Team.
Just Chief and Silver Team. Alright, for my conclusions, you guys probably already know, I am not a big fan of this show. There are little bits of Halo into this, but those little bits that I enjoy or whatever in the show is not enough, or for me, doesn't overpower all the, like, stuff that I don't like. Now, I'm not saying everything is bad and everyone's gonna hate it, and if you didn't like Halo or don't know anything about Halo, that you're gonna hate about this. Just for me, all the stuff that isn't with a Halo, like, I just don't enjoy it. Like, remove Halo from it, like you were saying before, and this might be a good show. For me, it wouldn't catch my attention, really. You brought me in with, like, Halo, and then you're trying to satisfy me with, like, little glimpses of Halo. Tiny glimpses of Halo. I guess that is my overall, like, final conclusions for this. I just didn't enjoy enough of the show, even looking past Halo stuff, to really be like, hey, you know, I want to watch more. And for people, like I was saying, they were like, hey, well, we're setting up to be more like Halo and stuff too. Guys, we spend so much time in the show going over the storylines that a lot of us did not enjoy with the Quan Ha stuff. They're going back to that stuff. Yeah, unless they are doing full course correction stuff. And yes, we do have new show creators, so I guess anything is possible. But for what this show has shown me, if they are continuing on the course that this first season set up, it's going to be more the same of me not liking a whole bunch of stuff.
It could be Star Trek Discovery, like the difference between season 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like season 1 for Discovery is just throw it away. Just put it in the trash. It's bad. It's bad Star Trek. It's great sci-fi. Sound familiar? And then season 2 was like, all right, hold on. The fans hated this. Full course correction. And then they went into season 3, which is like in the future, which we already did a review of. But like, so they can do whatever they want in the future, but like not in the 23rd century because it exists. Now back to Halo. The sets, the ships, the guns, the armor. This does a good job of looking the part of Halo. But as an adaptation of the video game series that it's supposed to be based on, around, it's a pale imitation. The story pales in comparison to the story we are already told. If you're going to do an adaptation and you're going to do something different, you better have something truly different to offer. And they just don't here. Or I can say it's so different that it's not even Halo anymore. I don't want to like sugarcoat it in any way. We're 9 episodes in, and no one has set a physical, actual foot on Halo ring.
Just a mental one.
if even that, like whatever's going on there, like they're shown a Halo.
I'll pose this question to you guys, and I'm sure there's people that are in multiple camps of this. Did you subscribe to Paramount Plus for excellent sci-fi shows, or did you sign up to see Star Trek and Halo?
Disney Plus. I'm here for Obi-Wan plus The Mandalorian. But you know what? Like Matt said, there's plenty of people who are probably on both aisles of this. I think it's a pretty divisive show, which, good job. No, not really. No, not good job. So you let us know what you guys think in the comments below, okay? Maybe we'll just keep it civil, okay? Just keep it civil. That's all I ask. You have disagreements. Disagreements are okay, but don't yell at each other. Please don't yell at us. We also have other videos on our channel. We have other TV series reviews. We have new movie reviews, flashback movie reviews, and some deeper dive discussions.
We also have a Facebook page. Be sure to check us out there. We post about what reviews that we're working on before we post those reviews. We also post some different things on our fandoms and stuff too if you want to check those out. Trailers, other updates, things like that. But if you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Just go to our YouTube page. We have videos coming out regularly. For now, I'm Matt with No Market Media. Have a good day, everyone.
And I'm Randall. See everyone next time.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.